it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm here for the Scrapbook Nerd Online Shop, and I'm going to be creating the layout you see on the screen featuring products from Vicki Boutin's Color Study collection. So here's what I'm going to be using. I have paper and a bunch of embellishments, and I got all of this at the Scrapbook Nerd Online Shop. So I'm going to put links to the shop as well as everything I'm using in the description box below. I also want to point out that at the shop they have individual papers for this collection as well as paper pads. So depending on your preference, it should be there. Also today, I'm going to be using dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs and her Planner Essential series. In this case, I have the VIEWMASTER wheel die set as well as the VIEWMASTER text die set. I absolutely love these. I love all Elizabeth Craft Design dies these days. Anyway, I find them really different, and fun fact, they're for planners. I've never made a planner page in my life. These will be listed in the description box below as well. So just before starting, I want to share this list with you because it's basically a mojo booster technique I use. When I'm finding myself low on creativity, what I do sometimes is just make a quick list of what I love most about layouts. And in this case, I wrote multi-photo, straight lines, tags, dies, fun title, and or journaling. So the idea here is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you create a layout. At the very end of this video, we'll just review this list to see how I did. So here's what's on my desk. I have a frame style foundation I made with 2 sheets of paper, and I gutted one of them, and I also rounded the corners, you can see. And there is a tutorial on my channel where I show how to do that, so that will be linked up below. You can see I have 6 photos there and 3 photo mats. That's because I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to use colored prints or black and white. So I'm showing you the paper. You can see that I have a half moon with that color wheel there. I'm going to be working with that later on. I've got a bunch of paper, including that graph paper, which is part of this color study collection. I have those alphas from Thickers, the Twilight collection, and a bunch of embellishments. So what I'm doing first is cutting down 3 strips of paper, and it's going to be basically a layered photo mat that I'm going to be placing underneath my photo. So I will put measurements for all of this on the screen a little bit later on when I actually adhere it to the page. And also a little bit later on is when I will be deciding whether or not I use those black and white or colored photos. So you can kind of see how I plan to place it, just a little bit layered up, and my photo mats and eventually my photos will go on top of that. What I'm going to do now is get out my Big Shot, and I'm showing you these dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to cut out a giant VIEWMASTER wheel in that color wheel print. I think it's going to look pretty cool. So I'm running this through. This die is huge, and I have your basic old Big Shot. You can tell it's really old. Check out that handle there. Anyway, what I'm saying is that big, huge die on a basic platform does fit. It just fits. I do not have an extended platform, but I'm positioning it so that it fits and it works. I also am cutting out another one. This one doesn't have holes in it. It's going to be layered up underneath the VIEWMASTER, and in this case I'm doing it in the graph paper. So that's going to layer up underneath, but the little circle part that cut out, I'm going to save that because I'm going to be using it for journaling later on. Now what I'm doing is putting some black cardstock in my Big Shot, and I have that one die from the VIEWMASTER text die. It's those cursive letters that go on a curve, and I also have the 2 little, they're like rings that go around the opening in that VIEWMASTER wheel. That's from the original VIEWMASTER die set. So now you can see that off camera I cut out some more of those rings, and I've started adhering them. So I'm adhering them with an adhesive called Sticky Specs from Ecstasy Crafts. I did it for all of them. Now I'm adhering that graph paper behind that VIEWMASTER wheel, and then what I'll do is use that same adhesive, the Sticky Specs from Ecstasy Crafts, to adhere the words around the outside of that ring, and it says "into the lens." I absolutely love that. So now I'm positioning it on the page how I think I plan to do it, and I'm showing you where I'm putting that cut out of the graph paper. I'm literally just fitting it back into that ViewMaster wheel, and it's where I plan to do my journaling later on. Now at this point, you can see how I have my page layered up, but you're going to see when I adhere it to the page, I actually do it differently. And I'm actually unaware of it, but I like it better in the second case. So I'm now deciding between the color prints and the black and white photo. So I'm showing you it with the color prints. I'm going to go in with the black and white, then I go back in with the color, and spoiler alert, I go with the black and white. Actually, the color looks fine too when I look at it on the screen. The thing is, with this color study collection, it is very colorful, and I've probably done about 6 or 7 pages with it now, and I am finding it easier to work with black and white prints with this collection as opposed to color prints. So anyway, I'm still deciding, hesitating back and forth, but you're going to see I stop the film and I end up adhering those black and white prints to the photo mats, and that's what I'm going to go with in this case. So what I'm going to do now is adhere my layered photo mat to the page, and it's here where I actually start with the black on the page, then add the ViewMaster wheel, which is different than what I did before, but I actually like it a lot better this way. It has more of a layered look actually, and the ViewMaster on top of that black paper actually stands out quite a bit. So anyway, I'm positioning all that there. You can see I actually have that graph paper there in the cutout of that circle. That's where my journaling is going to go. I'm putting that narrow strip of that floral paper there, and now I'm going to position my photos on that mat just so that you can see a bit of that color paper and more of the blue. So I take a bit of time to just position it in the middle. I stop the camera and I continue, and now I'm showing you the title. So I have it on wax paper. It's On Our Walk, and those are the thickers from the collection called Twilight. Now I'm going to create 2 embellishment clusters, essentially one on the top left of that photo strip and one on the bottom right of that photo strip. And when I create embellishment clusters, I do like to start with something big. So what I'm starting with are 2 tags, and those tags are actually part of a cut-apart sheet that belongs to this collection. When I started using this collection a couple weeks ago, I took one of the cut-apart sheets, actually I took 2 of the cut-apart sheets, and I completely cut them apart, and I've been using them as layering on my layouts. So you can see that I have one on the top, one on the bottom. I'm having a bit of trouble with the one on the bottom because I want the title to fit on top of it, but I want the whole of the tag to exceed the title. Anyway, you're going to see what I do with that a bit later on. I also came in with 2 vellum pieces from the ephemera pack, a color wheel as well as a ViewMaster wheel. I just moved it off screen, but I have one in each of the embellishment clusters as well. Now what I'm doing is actually going back into this die set, especially that ViewMaster wheel set, the base one. There are so many bits and pieces to that. So I took out one of the many tags, also a little circle that says yes, and there's like this little paper clip, super, super cute. I'm kind of off camera right now, sorry about that, but you will see it better later on. And I'm just cutting out a few bits and pieces. You're also going to see me get out my scraps of paper from this collection, and basically what I'm going to do is cut out some of those pieces in different colors. These are only scraps of paper, and sometimes you just don't know what you want to use until you try it. For example, the little circular piece there with the word yes in the middle, I don't know if I want it in green, if I want it in blue, if I want it in purple. So I just cut out a few of them. It's just a tiny scrap of paper, and all I'm using are scraps of paper. So I'm not wasting anything at all. This cuts out really well, by the way, for very detailed pieces. I'm quite impressed with it. I have a really old Big Shot, like you can see. Anyway, it works really, really well. So I've got a bunch of pieces here. You can kind of see it's all around me. And there's one thing I want to point out. Off camera, what I did was I wanted to fit that blue tag on the bottom right. And like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have enough room. So I literally picked up that entire photo embellishment VIEWMASTER wheel cluster. I literally was able to pick it up in one clump by lifting it up carefully, and I moved it over 1/4 inch. And by doing that, I actually was able to accommodate the tag on the bottom right the way I wanted to so that the hole would be visible. Anyway, I'm much happier with it. And now what you see me doing is placing the other bits and pieces around. So I have that paper clip there. It's in black at the top. I have that black tag at the bottom, and I ended up going with the circular piece. It's almost like a bluish purple yes at the bottom, and I'm happy with that. I want to repeat that color. So you can see I have my box out of different enamel dots, and I find a purplish color that works well for my stash. So I put one in that clip on the top left of the photo strip and one in the bottom right on that tag, and that's it. So now what you see me doing is speeding up the film and quite literally adhering all of the bits and pieces exactly where I had placed them. So now I'm going with my title there, and I'm happy because that tag really sticks out. I'll be able to put a reinforcer there as well as some twine. Now I'm coming in. This time, as opposed to using that yellow adhesive that I used, I'm using my Nuvo liquid adhesive. I never use it. It's beside my desk, so I thought I would try it, and to be perfectly honest, I'm quite impressed with it. I don't like liquid glue typically because it kind of spills over. This one spilt over a bit, but it immediately went transparent, so I was quite impressed. I'm also putting in another piece of ephemera here. Right above that photo on the bottom, I have a little piece there, and it says, "Take more pictures." And I really like that because when I do my journaling, that's kind of what this is going to be about. What you see me doing right now is creating some reinforcers. So what I did a moment ago, actually, I used a hole punch and a 1/2 inch circle punch to create a ring. So I put them around the holes of the tags, and all I did after that was add a bit of that twine, and I ended up going with a blue twine. So that's pretty much it there. I have my journaling there. Like I said, it's kind of about how my husband has to put up with a wife who's a scrapbooker and always wanting to take pictures, and how he was very kind about it and did. Anyway, if you see there, I have my list. So just to go over it, multi-photo, yes, I have 3. Straight lines, no problem, they're there. I've incorporated tags. I've used dies. I absolutely love die cutting, and I really do find my journaling fun in that circle. So that Mojo booster really did help me. Anyway, I'll be using it again, I'm sure. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the Scrapbook Nerd YouTube channel, we would be absolutely thrilled if you did. The same thing for my channel, Scrapbooking Quebec. Also, be sure to check out the shop for Vicki Boutin's products, as well as Elizabeth Craft Design dies. There are tons of them there, and obviously a bunch of other fun stuff as well. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.